Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Bit of a review for you. I've had the Nikon Z7 II for just over 3 months, so I'm going to do a bit of a review on it. Some of the photography I've taken with it up to now. If you've been watching or you've seen some of the latest Z7 II videos, you would have seen me doing a bit of wildlife video with it. All of the video you're watching now is shot with Z7 II, with the 24 to 70 f4 lens on, and I'm watching myself on Snapbridge on my phone above it, so at least I can see what I'm doing. It's the first time I've done this, but at least I can see what I look like and sort the lighting out. If the lighting's rubbish, please tell me, because I'm crap at this. Rubbish at lighting. Can't get anything right. Curtains are closed, everything is... nah. Anyway, photography. Alright, yep, doing it. So, if you know me, I'm into all sorts of photography. I'll do landscapes, wildlife, sport. Not that you see much of the sport, but I am going to an ice hockey match tonight for the Cleveland Comets, my local team, who I used to play for many a moon ago. I'm going to do some photography for them. But I'll show you some of the photos that I'm getting for that as well. Now, lenses I usually use, well, this is the one I usually use for my wildlife. It's a Sigma 150 to 600 contemporary lens. f5.6. Wildlife, like I say, is for that. Most of, if not all, I think all of the landscape stuff is done with the lens that's on here, which is a 24 to 70 f4. I don't think I've used the 2.8 yet on it, 16 to 80. With the FZ adapter. Can't remember, I'll have to check on that one. But all the photos I'm going to show you are basically taken with that lens. Now there is some portrait stuff in there. I did a night at a local studio, and it was a good night, Star Wars night, and some of the photos I got there with this were pretty good. Really, really nice. I mean, eyes sharp. Yeah, very. And used their focus, this focus system and everything. It was mint. Autofocus on these things are really nice. I mean, you can move around. I don't want to get too close, but it'll move around, and I can see it's following my eye, looking at my phone above. So I know I'm in focus, which is brilliant. But when it comes down to tracking wildlife things and stuff like that, I still haven't made my mind up of which focus bit I'm going to use, which system I'm going to use at the moment. I think I'm on single point, because I just find it, especially for the things that I'm taking photos of, it's a bird in flight. I know if I lock it on with that, I can, and it's in my viewfinder, I can see it. I mean, I don't use the back of the camera, I use the viewfinder when I'm taking things like that. When I do landscapes, it's basically the screen on the back of the camera. Portraits, I'll do a bit of both depending on how I feel, and being able to see where the dots are on the back of the camera, which is something that I have found that it's really hard to see. They're really small, so if I'm looking at the back of the camera, I've got it up to do a portrait, and you think you're in focus. No, your focus point might have moved, or you might have caught it and moved it, and it can be a bit iffy. That's personal preference. I put that down to user error, nothing else. Me. Right. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with a few landscape shots even. Taken here and there. And we'll just go through, and I'll just show you a few, and we'll talk about them, settings and stuff like that, just so you can see what the camera is capable of. If you are thinking about getting one, I jumped up from a D500 to the Z7 II. I'm denied about getting the 850, but I thought, get this, I know I'm going to be future proofed. Thinking about getting the Z30 though. It'd save all this messing around because it's got a flippy screen and everything. So for vlogging, I think it'd be pretty good. I've got everything that I need, so I just need the body, and I think the body's a £700 for a 20.9 megapixel camera that does 4K, 120 frames a second. I don't think that's too bad myself. Mirrorless as well. So you never know, there might be a few bits coming out on that if I decide to get one. Won't be for a while though. Month or two. Never mind. Got to pay this one off first. Anyway, photos. Okay, I'm doing it. Photos. So as you can see, I mean, these haven't got a filter on. I've got no filter on this. It zoomed in a little bit, but quality wise, don't know why that's in there. It's supposed to be. But my two favourite out of this whole entire, when I went and I took these, is that one. I have to say, I love that photo. Gibson's Cape, by the way, and it's crisp all the way through. Really, really nice image. Is that one and this one. Again, I just love this image. It's fantastic. Like, no filters have been used on these. All I've done is turn the ISO, the ISO down as low as it'll go. Pumped the f-stop up as high as it'll go, which is f22, I believe, on that lens. And then I think they're about a second. Let's have a look. 0.8 of a second. So that's 0.8 of a second. Yeah, it's not even a second long, that exposure. f22, 36mm, ISO 64. As you can see there. So again, I've done videos on you don't need expensive filters to get nice creamy milky water. I mean, if you want to go like smooth, you know what I mean, you know, like they do with the fine art stuff at beaches and stuff like that, then you'll need a filter for that, because you know what I mean, you're talking a couple of minutes exposure wise. But for this 0.8 of a second, you can't fault that for me. I mean, I love that photo, it's really nice. But just while I was out, I thought, you know what I mean, there's low force, again, there's another one that shouldn't be in there. But the colours are just amazing. I just love the colours on this. I mean, that's not the camera. It was like that. But yeah, it's really, really nice. So now, if you've seen one of my vlogs from earlier on in the month, you would have seen these in that from Stately Pier. I think that's one of my favourite as well. So what can I say about the landscape stuff? I think the landscape stuff is really, really nice. I mean, if you, like I keep on saying, my early videos, when I got the Z7 II, I went out and I did bluebell shots and stuff like that. Around Rosebery Topping and the forests around the bottom of there, and they were really nice. Again, lovely images. Colour quality. I don't know what it is about Nikon. I haven't had many other cameras, but I've had a look at raw files of other cameras, and I think Nikon's, I wouldn't say it's truer to life, but I think they're just better for me personally. I think they're just better. But like I say, that's just me. When it comes down to portraits, haven't had much chance to do it. The ones I'm going to show you, I was one at an event at a local studio, Studio 9. Look them up. Not very expensive if you want to hire out. Fantastic lads who run it. Do quite a lot of stuff in the northeast as well. Like, you know what I mean? They'll do nights. They've just done a couple of nights there. I went to the Star Wars one. The Star Wars one was brilliant. I'll show you the photos. Boba Fett. Mandalorian, Darth Vader. A couple of girls there as well. Well, models there as well, ladies. Fantastic night, really good night. But anyway, we'll have a look at these photos now. So as you can see, outside, sun was just starting to set. But again, photo, they are like really sharp. I mean, some of these are with a flash, some aren't. There you go. So, you know what I mean? You sharp, very. I can't complain how sharp they are when I'm doing portrait shots. I mean, some of these are just, I love them. Colour gel lights, excellent again. One of the lads brought them down. Craig, thanks Craig. Cheers mate. They are fantastic. Expensive, I looked at them. You can start from about 80 quid. That big, but colour changing, you've got all the colours you want to flame, and I think Godox. Is it Godox? Yeah, Godox lights. Fantastic. Not sponsored by the way, but I'm just telling you what the lights were. But again, you go through these and they're just brilliant. Really, really, really nice images. A couple of my favourites from the night have to be that one. I love that. I love that. I think it's just great. But again, you know what I mean? Same model. I mean, all the models were brilliant, male and female. That one hasn't been edited, believe it or not. That's just with one flash. I don't even think it was a flash. But yeah. Again, modelling. But again, you can't complain. I mean, for what that is and how much I'm zoomed in at 1:1 there. You know what I mean? So when it comes down to the model and stuff like that, I'd want to probably go out and do a proper model shoot with an external flash and everything. You've probably seen that I do a lot of wildlife. It's the main thing that got me into photography back in the day, when I was using that, a Minolta 300i. What was it? Oh, 303 SI. But yeah, but still shooting on single point, unless it's I'm tracking something, just wading around. I mean, you'll see some of these are just, you know what I mean, you've got grey wagtails, pied wagtail, and you've got little egrets, marsh harrier, you know what I mean, glossy ibis, which is saltworm. Now if you've seen my latest wildlife vlog, you would have seen, I think, most of these photos in that, and some video done with the Z7 II. But if not, I'll put a link in the description, or it'll be up here somewhere. But watch this one first, because there's more to come. Again, but the wildlife photography, I mean, these are really high ISO, believe it or not. Let's have a look. So these are really high ISO, and I think I have cropped them a bit as well. ISO 220, 2200. So it's not that high, but it's still high enough. F 7.1, 100th of a second at 600mm, and that's with a Sigma lens. But again, I can't fault it for the wildlife. The shots I don't get are usually my fault. Not quick enough, not the camera's fault. But when it comes down to like some of these are just fantastic. Swallows, you know what I mean? Photograph. I mean, this is in bright sunlight, but now you've got to remember that I'm zoomed in 1:1 here, so 100%. and this is what I'm getting from it. Yes, there's a bit of noise at the back, but I'm at 100%. You're never gonna crop in like that, ever. I can't fault the camera. I can fault me. I can't fault the camera. The camera's doing what I'm telling it to do. So if I haven't got the focal point where it needs to be and something flies through, it won't pick it up because it can't, because it's not in the right place. When you've got like a box, and then inside that box you've got like an eye detector. Yeah, so it's, for me, most of the time I miss a photo that I'm going for, especially for wildlife. It's down to me. It's not. I can't fault the camera. It's me being crap. So the last lot I'm going to show you was from my last video. Now, if you haven't seen that, it's all about macro photography. I used the Sigma 105 f2.8 Sigma lens. So that's what all this lot is. Some of them are cropped, but when you have 47 megapixels, which is what the Z7 II is, you can get some bloody good detail, really good detail. So these are the ones that are, you know what I mean, don't know why that's there, but some of these bugs in that, I mean, so that's at 1:1, but the detail is just, I can't fault it at all. I mean, well, it's not too bad, plenty of noise in it, like, but I think it's a hoverfly. But look at that for detail. That's like, what? But that's what you can get from 47 megapixels and a dedicated lens. I mean, this again. I mean, look at that. That's at 1:1. I mean, the detail, that's on its eyes. I was blown away, not just with the camera, but with the lens itself. You know what I mean? So up to now, I've used 3 different lenses on the Z7 II. Neither, well, the 2 Sigmas aren't for a full frame camera. I've had to use the Z2, I've had to use the FTZ adapter for them two. So, don't get me wrong, there's 1 or 2 things that I'd change. It doesn't have a lock for your focal system. Yeah. Now, you'd probably be able to do that in a camera somewhere, yeah, in one of the settings to lock where your focus point wants to be. The D500, on the D500, and if you, so on the D500 it has this here, so you can basically click it to lock it and unlock it. I would have liked that. I would have liked that on this, on the Z7 II. I just think it would make it a lot easier, because there's many a time if you're up, you know what I mean, portrait, landscape, all the time, it moves, and yes, it does remember where it was the last time you did put it there, but just to have it locked, I think it'll just be easier, personally. And if it's in the menu, I apologise. One more set to show you, sports. So let's have a look. What you've got to remember when you go to an ice rink, because it's cold, when you go in, take your camera out your bag, leave it out your bag, let it acclimatise to its surroundings. Take the lens cap off. Yes, it will probably mist up depending on how hot you've been, how cold it is. But at the end of the day, you don't want to get your camera out your bag and then try and start taking photos when something's going on, because it's all misted up. So if you get it out early, it's basically sorted itself out. Another thing is, the ones I'm going to show you were taken 5:30ish on a summer's night. There's not much light that comes into the place itself, but it's sufficient for me to be able to shoot this, or shoot these at half a second, 1/500th of a second, f2.8, using the 70-200 f2.8, which again isn't a native Z lens, with the FZ adapter, FTZ or TZ adapter. But you'll see that if I tweaked or moved the shutter speed up just a little bit to catch a little bit more, it like the puck a bit like harder, not because some of them are a little bit blurred. You'll see as I'll jump through these pretty quick. You'll see. But when the lads are skating around and just general game and stuff like that, again, I can't really fault it. Now, when I shot this game, I used dynamic autofocus. So if you've got the big box, and if it spots an eye, it'll basically, or a head, it'll keep on that. I think it's dynamic. I'll put something here or there, or to tell you which one it is. Anyway, so that's that. I'll show you the photos now. Like I say, Cleveland Comets v Durham. I can't remember the second. I think it's Durham Dragons. Possibly. Anyway, you'll see them. I mean, this is from the game, from the warm-up, just a lad skating around. You know what I mean? Now, you've got to remember, got to love some of the lads here. You've got to remember that hockey's a really fast game. If you watch hockey on the TV, you can, you know what I mean? So, some of the shots I'm getting aren't too brilliant. Some of them are fantastic. I love them. But the lads all enjoy them. You know what I mean? I mean, some of the start of the game, again, you can see the puck. It's not that blurry. Bearing in mind these are all 47 megapixels. I mean, I could take the megapixels down, but I can't see the point of it, because that also makes this sensor smaller, so you might get more noise on it. Now I've got my ISO set to 4000 auto up to 4000. Not that any of these are 4000 for a second ISO. But when the lads are skating around and you've got pucks and people flying around, they aren't that blurred. I mean, there's good curvature of a stick in that one, and that's what they want. Yeah, it's a bit blurred to the thingy, but everything else is alright. Probably, I mean, that's good to stick curl, and that's what the lads are looking for when I'm taking photos anyway. But again, so in conclusion then, Z7 II all-round camera capabilities. Personally, I can't see. There's one or two issues I have. I'm not using it to its full potential. I know that. Okay? I'm not. So, anyway, I think it's a great camera. I really do. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff with the camera. My next video will probably be a landscape one, I think, depending on how much time I get. At work from tomorrow for 10 days. Holiday cover. Can't follow it. Anyway, in hindsight, if this was a loaner, would I be happy to pay for it? Yeah, I would. 47 megapixels, 10 frames a second. Can't fault the autofocus on it. Colours are great. There's one or few things I'd like to change. If I had a flip screen, that would be brilliant. Hence why I was thinking about getting the Z30. Anyway, I probably kept you here long enough. But thanks for watching. More to come in the future on the Nikon Z7 II. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Go and watch another video for me if you don't mind. That'd be great. And I'll see you on the next one. Laters.